Yo, We are ready here at Formula One's Media and Technology Centre to go racing again in our 8th season of the F1 Sim Racing World Championship 2026. No drivers currently in those rigs. Oh, just one driver has joined us. We are ready to get going here as we have round 5 about to get underway as we go racing in Barcelona. We've also had yesterday coming off the back of an incredible race around Jeddah, and I'm looking forward to this one. Joined by a fabulous team, Nina Jade, Kai Vicini and Alex Jakes. Nina, you've been down there, our official pit lane reporter. It's really been a buzz and energy, and especially coming off a very exciting quali in Barcelona.
Yeah, it was a really exciting quali. I mean, Otis was being Otis. He lit it up. And it was nice to see Josh also celebrate as well. He's on the second row behind him. But even Ishmael Fassi, he's, you know, on the second row as well alongside Josh. And I think that meant a lot to Ferrari, especially having a result. If they can make a result out of this, it recovers them a little bit from yesterday.
All right, perfect. Well, it's great to have you on board with this. And everyone watching at the moment, I mean, if you're bringing up to speed, in Event 1 was incredible, Kai. Event 2 is living up to the same billing.
Yeah, Event 1 was just setting the scene. That's just the tone that we were expecting for the rest of the championship. And Saudi Arabia very much proved that. As Nina mentioned, double DNF for Ferrari, big shock in the Ferrari camp and as a spectator as well. But also, we had Jarno Opmeer doing what Jarno Opmeer does, carving his way through the field on the opposite strategy to what everyone else was pretty much on, and taking home another race victory, extending his championship lead. However, today, he has Otis Lawrence to challenge him.
Of course he does, and that is a great driver standing at the moment, 1 and 2 right there. What a billing to have Alex Jakes back here for F1 Sim Racing. Enjoying it so far? Are you impressed with the likes of what Jarno Opmeer was able to do yesterday?
Yeah, massively impressed with the standard that we saw yesterday and the standard that we've seen again in qualifying. Wonderful to be back. Looking forward to calling the race. Looking forward to having our big hitters at the very front as well.
Yeah, and is when you come into a new season, Alex, do you get excited like who could possibly become a new world champion?
Yeah.
And can anyone topple the greatest of all time, Jarno Opmeer?
It's great to see the contenders. Very, very open first 3 races. Now we find ourselves into the part of the season where if you're not quite there, you're going to get found out. So this is a real proving ground, this event, especially with 2 very, very physical circuits coming on the same day. Drivers have got to deliver. And now is the time to show that you've not just got off to a fast start, that you're not just a few good results at the start of the year, that you're good for the whole campaign.
Yeah, it was a great way to start yesterday with event 2, going around the Jeddah, the Corniche. And obviously, Kai, it had a bit of everything. You were calling the race. What did you notice straight away?
Well, we noticed that it was going to be a big reliant on strategy. I think the drivers expected that as well. However, there was a couple of fireworks thrown in here and there to keep it exciting for all of us watching along at home in the early stages. This is where we found ourselves, one of the Ferraris getting in a little bit of trouble down at the first corner. A bit of Constantina effect caused a bit of damage on the car of Jake Butcher as he was going through the second corner. Tom Manley, the leading charger on the opposite strategy, starting on those hard compounded tyres. He was going for the long stint straight away and was picking off cars one by one with those mediums dropping off. Little bit of contact as Ulash Ozildrim was trying to make his way through, as John Evans unfortunately was on the receiving end of that. No further action and a racing incident deemed by the stewards. On board here with Ismail Fassi, started a little bit higher up and takes a bit of a punt into the rear end and across the apex of turn 2, rejoins the track. He said it was desync that caused this incident when he was rejoining. A front wing completely obliterated in the blink of an eye. Isvan Pookie completely misjudging his braking zone. That is what sent Ismail Fassi over the apex of turn 2. Not what you want to see, but you have another race, another 2 races actually today to recuperate yourself. Sweat on the forehead, but he was cool, calm and collected. It was Jarno Opmeer that was making his way through. Mediums at the end of the race was very much preferred, and Jarno Opmeer took advantage of that, analysing the situations around him and picking up the positions where he can. This was where he found himself into the lead of the race, and once he was in the lead, he was like a freight train with no brakes as he managed to make his way past Ulash Ozildrim. And why not do the double? Otis Lawrence leaves the gap on the inside, and a 3-time world champion knows where to place the car to get the position. It was a great job from Otis to try and fight it all the way to the apex of turn 2, but it was just not enough. 17 race victories, now searching for his 18th. Jarno Opmeer back on top.
Otis Lawrence last year became the youngest driver ever in F1 sim racing to get his maiden win. And then we expected the same because he started on pole and it was a real battle. But yeah, afterwards, talking to Jarno here on the set here in the studio, he just looked so calm. And I think that's worrying for everyone. As you see the points there, it is close, but already there's 2 front runners, aren't there, when you look at it, Nina? And they're acting like possible champions down there, I'm sure, in the arena.
It's interesting what Jarno said yesterday on the sofa. If he was in his rookie season or his second season, he wouldn't, the margins are so close, he didn't know if he'd be fighting at the front. So he gave his hats off to the other drivers right now, and Otis, in the same breath, called Jarno the greatest sim racer of all time. So they have respect for each other mutually, but the rivalry is also very exciting for us.
We are not far away from the race start at the moment. As you can see, Oracle Rebel Racing 2 points off from getting to 100 points already after almost 5 races. It's very exciting, this, as we head towards the race. I'm curious to know, does there standout people that you're looking towards, Kai, potentially for this one? Is Jarno, Otis? What's the back? Who are you backing on this one?
Oh, who am I backing is a very difficult question. It's a new circuit of Barcelona. We've never seen it before here on the sim racing calendar, and you can't quite put a name on that top step just yet. Jarno Opmeer, you can't take your eyes off him. He's struggled in qualifying all the way through his last few seasons, now finds himself on the front row. The question is, will he break away? Will we dominate out in front? Otis Lawrence will 100% challenge him off the start. Otis Lawrence, his focuses will be on keep Jarno Opmeer behind as much as possible, and if not, hang on to that rear end for dear life.
If you missed the quali earlier on around Barcelona, we were excited because we've never gone racing there in F1 sim racing history. And I tell you what, they managed it as we look at the highlights now with Otis Lawrence, a back-to-back pole. He was just pretty sensational again. And to have that confidence to just go back-to-back poles, Alex, he definitely drove it very well. And he said that final sector was brilliant for him. But a few shocks at the beginning, a few surprises that went out. Haas, both drivers, Joris Krozen, who scored in every single race so far, out in Q1.
Yeah, they talk about the commentary curse, don't they? Presenter curse.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. Going forward, it was interesting across the board as we see that unusual on board for our championship leader. Progressing through, 3 drivers fell. Joni Tormela in the car for this race. Plenty of practice in the run-up to it and delivering, getting through into Q3. But the big hitters at the very front, Thomas Ronhaar, a contender for the title 1 year ago, just having a season miles away of what we expected. When we got into Q3, Ismail Fassi, really good first run, and we did have Otis Lawrence slightly down the order after the first laps, and yet, when the moment came along to deliver, he did so for back-to-back poles.
Yeah, and you can see what it means to him. And when he's feeling confident and excited, there's a real buzz around the whole thing and for the whole team of Alpine. But he looked so dejected from finishing P2 yesterday in Jeddah, and you sort of worry about him. Can he keep that focus when you've got Jarno right behind you?
He really wants it. He really wants this world title. I mean, we were talking to him yesterday and it means the absolute world to him, but he's got to be careful not to let that emotion affect him going forward, because that can really affect momentum when you get in your head a little bit. So he's got to try and keep his head in the game.
Okay, let's compare his pole lap versus Jarno Opmeer. Can we do a side-by-side? Yeah, I knew we were going to do it anyway. We've got a brilliant team working with us. But what do you notice from these 2 lap times set?
Sending it into the first corner, which is one of real knitting the rhythm together. Watch for the marker points. We're about to go to the bridge. Bridge is a great way to see the differences at this stage, and you can see Jarno Opmeer with a little bit more confidence at this stage. Otis Lawrence wasn't happy with sectors 1 and 2. But he has very, very high standards. It's amazing looking at the sector times that he was setting, but he wasn't happy with that. Bridge comparison again, Otis Lawrence happy at this point. Look at the margin between them, less than 0.02 of a second. To be fair, considering it's sim racing, that's quite a margin, isn't it? It's like a tenth of the real thing. So you go through the corners of commitment now, heavy on the anchors coming into this turn, but it's not the same aggressive stop that it used to be. Way more of a long radius corner. Such a feature of this circuit. And what I like about here is the different challenges that you've got. This is about rotating the car, careful of taking too much curve on the left-hand side. Now, all about the commitment of the final 2 corners. There's nothing between them. And then ultimately, look to the page, you can see the improvement, both of them improving by 0.2 of a second, but it's Otis Lawrence by less than 200ths. And honestly, side by side, I love the effort that everyone went to put that together. Very difficult to unpick
Yeah, of course.
who did well and who did not. 2 mighty laps around
I think
the
it just
circuit.
goes to show there is nothing in it. There is absolutely nothing in it. And Otis did say that final sector for him what gave him that edge over Jarno Opmeer, and he's going to have to continue doing that. There is your classification from round 5, Barcelona, Spain. Istvan Pukki, we know that 10-second penalty yesterday might be on his mind. He wants to get back in the points to help his team Williams, who are currently 3rd in the team standings, try and get back in there and battle with Alpine and Red Bull Racing. So he's the man to watch at the moment. Can we talk about other drivers maybe that stand out for you? Actually, I'll ask you, Nina, who's impressed you most so far, what you've chatted to in terms of their confidence and how they're feeling?
Josh impressed me this morning. Just in terms of he was the most confident driver I'd spoken to. Who I am impressed by is Ismail Fassi. Just because Ferrari had a awful day yesterday, double DNF, and it's hard to come back from. But I saw him this morning, little pep in his step, good mindset, come out, qualified in P3. And it's not an easy feat, especially when you've had a terrible day 1. So I'd keep an eye on Ismail.
Okay, is that the same for you, maybe, Alex?
It is indeed. And I always think it's the way that you bounce back from a bad day defines whether you're going to be a championship contender. It's absolutely massive for him that he didn't turn 1 bad day into 2 bad days. He's given himself a great foundation from the second row to push those out front. And he knows that it's the top 2 contenders for the title ahead of him. He knows that it's more than a race. It's a first turn with the title on the line. You can see how much pressure he's feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, careful. That is a man ready to execute his game plan and go full attack. So I think he's the driver to watch.
Yeah, that yawn is actually just waking him up. It's getting ready. They're in the sort of zone now to get pumped. And the fact that he gave you very short answers as well. His focus, he hasn't got time to be faffing about, waste time. It's just to sync answers for you.
He gave nothing away, really, but before you guys threw to me, he did say, you can win from P3. It's quite easily. Yeah. So he has a quiet confidence about him. I think he's feeling confident within himself and he's got something to prove today.
Yeah, but we've seen him force moves sometimes. I would go back to Bahrain, that late break, and penalised for it. So can he stay patient today, Kai?
Patience is going to be a virtue, and that's what we'll see through Barcelona. We're expecting drivers to play the long game, and that's what we're expecting in terms of the strategy. Yeah, we've had lapse in judgment, we've had lapse in concentration from Ismail Fassi, and those cracks have started to show, especially in Bahrain in that last lap. I mean, he was fighting just moments ago for a race victory, and then he finds himself on the back foot, maybe gets a bit desperate and just dive bombs down the inside, tries to pick up some positions, tries to recuperate some of the time that he's lost, and in doing so, takes out his competitors and gets hit with a 10-second penalty and penalty points to his name. So you need to iron out those mistakes, learn from your mistakes. Mistakes can be made in this championship, but that's what makes a champion. How do you bounce back from that?
I wasn't sure whether he was your driver to look out for today. Is there another one, Kai?
Yeah, go on. We'll have a look at Nico Longe, starting from 8th down on the grid. His qualifying results have been outstanding over the course of this season so far. He's got his good luck charm with him this weekend. We were talking about this, Tom. His little Pokemon figure of Lucario actually picked that up at Event 1 at the Birmingham in NEC. So Nico bringing along the trophies with him, maybe hoping for another trophy at the end of it.
Yeah, if there's anywhere to pick up one sort of mini trophy like that, it is at DreamHack. That is the place to do that. But yeah, I mean, he had 3 third place starts in his races, a second place start yesterday. Down in 8th, what can he do? I'm intrigued to see that and what he can do. Who are we going for? I'm going to pass it over to you.
Not predictions again. I mean, my word.
What is
Alex is getting sick of this now.
Pole position,
You got it right.
What else?
I was keeping it light before we send it over to you, Kai, and Alex to take us through the race around Barcelona.
Yeah, I think it's going to come from the top 3. There you go, nice and vague. Off we go.
That's all you're getting.
He keeps it open, doesn't he? Why not? I'll go for Otis Lawrence. He's been on such good form. We've spoke to him over the course of this weekend, Nina and Tom, and he's quietly confident. He wants it. He's hungry for it. And I think that will translate into results.
Well, listen, gentlemen, I'll send you away as me and Nina look across the circuit of
now?
Barcelona. Yeah,
right now?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
fine.
you can go now if you want. He's gone for the vaguest of answers, the top 3, but I respect it because I would have done exactly the same, Nina. What about yourself? When we look around the circuit of Catalonia in Barcelona here, it's an exciting circuit. Jake's mentioned earlier on, they've shaken things up in the last couple of corners, and it's an exciting race that we're predicting here. Who you sort of got your money on if you were to put one driver? Can you look outside of the top 3?
You can, because I'm feeling confident about Josh, to be honest with you. I think Josh, the confidence Josh has, I think he could do it, but he would need some drama ahead of him. I mean, this is a track that exposes everything. Low, medium, high-speed corners, high tyre deg on those long corners, you've got heavy braking. This is a track that if there is a weakness in a car or a driver, Barcelona will expose it.
You're going to get found out. Hard to medium or medium to hard, that's what we're predicting. And yesterday it worked so well for Jarno Upme. He just had that difference ending on the medium tyres. So will that be happening? What strategy will they go for? I'm curious to know, as I looked at the stat, 85th start for Freddie Rasmussen today. No one's had more starts than Freddie Rasmussen. And a time like this, when you're starting in P5, and to help potentially your teammate get his 4th world title, who's making his 77th start today, they've got all that experience in Red Bull. And you noticed something which I found fascinating because I haven't been down there where the drivers are. They're the loudest bunch, communication with the team.
Now, mind you, they're not loud, but you can hear a pin drop in that room. They are the most communicative. They are constantly talking to each other, engineer to driver, driver to engineer. And I actually think Red Bull have the edge here at Barcelona because they have a team of 2 veterans. And I think, you know, whether we've raced here professionally in F1 sim racing or not, you can draw from that experience. The amount of starts that Freddie and Jarno have, they're definitely going to be beneficial to them.
Well, you set it up perfectly there. Now we pass over to Alex Jakes and Kai Bicini to take us through all the action around Barcelona.
Thank you, Tom. Let's go racing. It is time for another contest in the Sim Racing World Championship of 2026. From the back to the front, Joris Krozen and Thomas Gal, the Haas pair, on the back row of the grid. After a troubled qualifying earlier on, Krozen has scored in all the races. If he keeps that going, it's going to be absolutely remarkable. On to the next row we go. Whereas Tycho Hardy in 16th, next to Thomas Ronhaar, a name that we're all familiar with, a serial race winner, but a driver who goes into this one seriously struggling for a bit of form. This qualifying session did not help. He's down in 12th position. We move forward to Tom Manley for Racing Bulls. Next to Jan Halliday, the Czech racer, having his first ever dry qualifying session in the Sim Racing Championship. He's P13. John Evans for Ferrari in 12th, next to Jake Benham. Both of them in the mix for the top 10 shootout, missed out by fine margins. To the top 10 shootout we go, where we find Esteban Pukki in the drama yesterday, next to Joni Tormala, who's been parachuted into the Racing Bulls for this event. He is P9. Then we move to Nico Longue, not happy with the handling of his car, not happy with 8th place. Ruben Pedreno on the other side, much happier with his effort in the Aston Martin. Next is Alfie Butcher. He is in P6 for McLaren. Freddie Rasmussen, ever reliable, always a winner in every season, goes from P5. Can he find the podium today? We move to Josh Edu, who is parachuted into the Alpine. He's been practicing around this circuit, and it showed. A great lap from him. Ismail Fassi has looked very, very strong and believes he can win from P3 on the grid. And the top 2 in the World Championship, the top 2 on the grid. Jarno Opmeer is the championship leader. Otis Lawrence will lead the field away.
Oh. Boy, do we have a race in front of us, Alex. 18 drivers and all on the grid now, ready to race.
The lights illuminate, 5 on, and we go racing for round 5 of the Sim Racing World Championship. We're off the line, and what's the getaway like between Otis Lawrence and Jarno Opmeer? Not much between the two of them. Lawrence to the inside. Oh, big crash in the background. Freddie Rasmussen off the road. They've made it through there, but they're having to rejoin off the racing line. It's Lawrence, Opmeer, Edu up to 3rd position, down to 4th goes Fassi, and they're all over the road in the back part of your picture.
Dream start for the Alpine drivers. 2 drivers inside the top 3 now, but Freddie Rasmussen finding himself in more trouble now as he's trying to recuperate some time, fighting his way back through the field on the outside of the McLaren here of Alfie Butcher as he tries to string his way along, manages to slot in between the two of them. In a McLaren sandwich right now is Freddie Rasmussen, but a nightmare start there. Right when we thought Freddie Rasmussen was back on top form with a decent qualifying result from him, it's already heartbreak in the opening stages. Jarno Opmeer, though, in between the two Alpine drivers. Let's go on board with Josh Edo as he peers down the back of the Oracle Red Bull racing machine in front of him. Otis Lawrence just controlling the way. A dream start for him.
This is massive for Alpine. If Edo can make a move, then they hold all of the strategic cards that they would need. Massive few laps in progress. This specific livery that Alpine have for the F1 Sim Racing Championship, they're in the all-black cars, and they are 1st and 3rd at the moment. The Navy Red Bull in 2nd, and Jarno Opmeer will not like the position that he finds himself in. Behind his title rival, with a strategic option for Alpine behind, Fassi will be left to rue a difficult getaway. It was pretty even reaction time from the front row that we saw. The dramatic moment was Freddie Rasmussen and making contact with the McLaren, both of them rejoining, but that could have been game over. We've yet to see whether he's got damage to the front wing.
Yeah, thrills and spills already on the first lap, but if this Alpine driver of Josh Edo is able to get himself into 2nd, that would be a picture-perfect situation for the Alpine team, and that would be exactly what Otis Lawrence talks about after qualifying. He said having his teammates starting behind him is so crucial in a race like Barcelona. If they're able to work together, swap DRS, energy management as well is going to be a big factor in this race. If those two Alpines can break away out in front and work together, it could be game over.
John Evans was defending there from Tom Manley. He was the car trying to make the move into the heavy, well, not as heavy braking zone as it used to be, but it's still an opportunity. Look who's on the soft tyre. Josh Edo on the soft tyre, Alfie Butcher on the soft tyre, Jake Benham on the soft tyre. Aggressive.
Well, that just shows even more that Josh Edo needs to get the work done early. These soft tyres aren't going to last long at all. He has optimal performance right now, but he's just not able to hang on to the back of Jarno Opmeer. On these soft compounding tyres, we would expect Josh Edo to make his way past Opmeer and possibly even make his way past Lawrence, because that's an ideal first stint there for the driver that's on the alternate strategy. But strategy is going to be the key word of this race. We have the hards, we have the softs, and we have the mediums, and it can all go up in the air when that pit window opens.
Absolutely right. It's lap 3 of 33. Otis Lawrence, Jarno Opmeer, Josh Edo, then Ishmael Fassi, Alfie Butcher, and Freddie Rasmussen losing positions. And then you find yourself with Benham, Pedreno, Longue, and Pookie completing the top 10 and the point scorers. There was 1 point scored for pole position earlier on. It went to Otis Lawrence, and he's done the hard part. He's on the same tyre compound as Jarno Opmeer, but he called Jarno Opmeer the GOAT earlier on, and the reason that he called him the GOAT is he is absolutely sensational when it comes to race pace. So he is now going to have to outgun a driver that he holds in such high regard, the only driver ahead of him in the standards, in a straight fight. In a straight fight on the same compound of tyres. Josh Edo will see how long he can take those soft tyres. They have got DRS in the game, and we'll just see whether Opmeer can get close enough. Doesn't feel the need to even shape for the move, doesn't want to lose any time. Drivers were uniformly predicting that it was going to be tough to overtake around this long-standing Formula One venue in real life. The first time that we're racing around this configuration today means that if we do see moves, they're going to be last of the late breakers.
Yeah, I also don't blame Jarno Opmeer for going for a dive early on in this race, because he needs to play it strategic here. He needs to be smart about the overtake if he gets it done, because if Jarno Opmeer goes for the overtake and starts to squabble, starts to battle with Otis Lawrence, that drags Josh Edo into the situation as well. Let's get a replay of the start here. We might find out where that damage was picked up from Freddie Rasmussen. Alfie Butcher got a blistering start off the line there as he launched his way through. Oh, clipped on the front there by Ishmael Fassi as Fassi pulled across to the outside for the braking zone. That inevitably sent Alfie Butcher into Freddie Rasmussen as well. Wheel spinner plenty off the line. Freddie Rasmussen was already on the back foot.
Okay, let's go on board with Rasmussen. He's going to have nowhere to go here. The McLaren moves, contact with the Ferrari, through the polystyrene board and rejoining as quickly as possible. It cost him a position. He is down to, so lucky not to wipe out their race before it had even really begun.
I mean, we initially thought there was damage there on the cars as we saw the debris go flying. Luckily, that was just from the brake marker board, so none of the drivers picking up any damage in the early stages. We're on board with Thomas Ronhaar here now as he's looking on the inside of Tom Manley. 3 wide into turn 1. That's going to be brave, and he was forced over the apex. Did a very good job to keep control of that car, did Thomas Ronhaar, as he's now looking left, looking right, trying to pick a position. That's what's so difficult about those opening corners. You have multiple drivers in front of you squabbling for position. Do you go with the slipstream? Do you go to the outside? Do you go for the alternative line? And in the end, Ronhaar finding himself down in 14th.
Yeah, you've got to go for the gap, especially when qualifying has not gone to plan. He's in 14th right now. Tom Manley is the next car ahead for last year's championship contender. Otis Lawrence has an advantage of 0.3 of a second right now. DRS worth a lot down the main straight. They are making their way through the corners to the last 2 on the racetrack. That old chicane deleted, and it's allowed us to go racing around here. Can anyone find a strategic advantage? Worth saying that Nicolas Longue is in 7th position right now. Ishmael Fassi finds himself P4 on the hard tyre, so he's going to be a factor far longer into this race.
Well, my question is all going to be on that strategy. Traditionally, around Barcelona here, it is a one-stop race. The undercut is going to be effective, but you need to be sensitive of the traffic that you're going to re-emerge in, which is why I think these soft runners, it will be questionable. Do they go for that soft hard, or do they go for a soft medium soft possibility? Freddie Rasmussen on the outside looking for a move, trying to get the second of the McLaren drivers in behind him for P5. It's a possibility. Squeeze to the inside, goes for the move. Oh, clips on the rear end. Butcher keeps it under control. Freddie Rasmussen's going to have to recuperate that one and go again.
Oh, he got into the situation there where you've got to try the up and under.
Yeah.
He took the wider line. It was always going to give him more momentum off, even though there's a tyre compound offset. The thing for him, though, is that you cannot risk a wing into turn 7 and 8.
Damage is so crucial in these races because, one, it adds time onto your race every single lap that you're going around. You've got reduced downforce, and downforce around a circuit like Barcelona is so crucial. 60% of the lap downforce is going to be in effect, and that is a replay of the incident that is under investigation between Butcher and Fassi. The question is, did Butcher leave Fassi enough room on that first corner?
It's a first lap incident. Sometimes the stewards' race control can be lenient on things that happen on the opening lap compared to if we saw that later at this stage of the race, where you would find yourself expecting some sort of penalty for that. Okay, those on the soft tyres in a world of pain right now. And to show you that, Ruben Pedreno in the Aston Martin all over the back of Jake Benham. Those soft tyres don't seem to be working for the McLaren man in P7. Nicolas Longuet also on that hard tyre. Hardest driver on the most durable compound in the contest, Ismail Fassi, P4.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation to be on the soft compounded tyres right now, especially on that front left. It's very high degradation around this clockwise circuit, and Spain and Barcelona is just notorious for that. At the moment, the soft compounded tyres are not notably slower, about 0.3 a lap. The soft runners are running slower than the medium and hard drivers as well, but strategy is definitely going to throw a spanner in the works. Drivers, I think, just waiting for that first opportunity and for that first driver to dive into the pit lane. From there, it will very much be a domino effect and everyone will follow the leader into the pit lane. In this case, it will be Otis Lawrence. Lawrence and Otmia both on match strategies, so it's a pure race to the line.
It's going to be fascinating, this, to see how Otmir, with that tradition of being faster in races than he is in qualifying, he was P2 in qualifying, matches it. Identical strategy, and then we go on board with Ruben Pedreno. That is not the part of the racetrack you want to be in. It's absolutely perfect car placement from Jake Benham in the McLaren. There's just no room through here, this technical middle part of the circuit. This is full commitment through turn number 9. We're heading to 10. That is not a heavy braking zone like it used to be in the past. So you're not hauling the anchors on in the way that you were. And still, despite the tyre compound advantage, Ruben Pedreno is stuck in P8.
Yeah, Pedreno trying everything he can to get a bit of clear air in front. The dirty air is not going to be helping his strategy at all, as he'll be looking to take these hard compounded tyres the distance into the race. But with the dirty air in front, that degradation is just going to be piling onto the car. Jarno Otmia not wasting any time in picking up the fastest lap of the race so far. 1:16.061, doesn't waste any time getting the move done as well. DRS in his aid. Jarno Otmia takes it on his own shoulders and says it's my turn to lead the train.
Jarno Otmir takes the lead from Otis Lawrence. Otis Lawrence with a fine first stint, but the time had run out, and he was waiting there for a while. He immediately gaps him by 0.6 of a second. This is on board with the championship leader. You could hear the pip in his ear to tell him he had DRS, and easy as you like, slam dunk stuff into turn 1.
Yeah, no question on that one at all. ERS activation and DRS to the favour of Jarno Otmir. It was a move that is going to be completed 10 times out of 10. And this is what I mean, Alex, by Jarno Otmir. He's a smart driver. He's calculated. Didn't rush into the overtake early on. He set himself up well. He analysed his opponent in front of him, noticed the weak spots, and as soon as he got a good run out of turn 14, used the DRS, used the battery, and got the move done with no hassle.
Yeah, a lot of laps, as you say, in preparation for that moment. Now, the incident that we saw on the opening corner of the opening lap has been deemed a racing incident. So with everyone continuing and no obvious damage to anyone, even though they were banging wheels into turn 1 and we had Rasmussen off the track, there is no further investigation required. And we continue to go racing on lap 10 of 33. Jarno Otmir sat in second for the opening stint of this one. He's now got the advantage. Otis Lawrence will work hard to stay within that 1 second window. He's done so at the moment. It's like going back in time. It's a strange one. We're back to DRS. We're back to 1 second windows. But that's what we've got with this year's version of the game, and the championship in front of them. The driver's used to that. You heard the pip in the air. Ismail Fassi in 4th. When does it start to swing between Ido and Fassi? When will we see the Ferrari man begin to make what will be inevitable headway? And when will those on the soft tyre come in to make their crucial stop?
Alex, we're both just sat here on the edge of our seats, tentatively waiting for the drop-off zone of these soft and medium tyres. Josh Ido, though, out of the drivers on the soft compounder tyres, is marginally faster than everyone else on the softs, about nearly half a second to a second in the case of Jake Benham, that Josh Ido is able to get this performance out of the soft compound of tyres. I do think that it did help that Ido had a little bit of fresh air, and Jarno Opmeer dropping down into second position there, so there is a change for the lead.
Change for the lead out front, so Otis Lawrence finds himself with the move back ahead, and the top two, it's like the early rounds of a boxing match. A little bit of sparring, you have the lead, and then we'll get the heavyweight stuff later on. We didn't see it live because Jarno Opmeer immediately playing the tactical game. You can see that very aggressive sweep of the wheel into turn 5, the driving style that you need. This is the left-hander of 7, and now he'll climb the hill through 8 and 9. Great corner. And Otis Lawrence is ahead of Jarno Opmeer. Josh Ido staying with it. This is a replay of how the lead changed once again.
Well, I wonder how this one panned out. Alex down the home straight once again. DRS enabled with ERS in activation for Otis Lawrence. Sweeps by on the straight, gives him a little bit of a wave on the way by as well. Otis Lawrence hits the front once again. I feel like I'm in a repeat of Suzuka. Otis Lawrence and Ismail Fassi. It was then switching positions lap after lap, trading DRS. And could we see another change here? Teammate in the pits for Jarno Opmeer, so that means that Freddie Rasmussen has dived into the pit lane and will also get himself in to lead the race. So much going on now.
Well, it's time to react then, isn't it? It's time to see. That is aggressive from Freddie Rasmussen, and he gets rid of that medium tyre. Could have been slightly more durable. There is the pit lane, there is the live look. And Jarno Opmeer back into the lead then. Otis Lawrence finds himself in second, Josh Ido in third, and the hard-shod Ferrari will be the driver that goes longer than any of the top 4 in picture.
Well, I'm very impressed right now that Josh Ido is able to get this life out of the soft compounder tyres. We've just seen Alfie Butcher depart of his soft compounder tyres that were on the car. I'm sure there would have been a little bit of graining and cracking on the left-hand side of his tyres. But Otis Lawrence, this will actually be working out in the favour of both drivers, meaning they're able to save their fuel deployment as they'll be trading positions down the straight, and no battling between them means that nobody else is trained into the fight. But Jarno Opmeer still just leading the way right now. 11 laps completed, onto the 12th after this, but Josh Ido, the leader on the soft, when does he dive in onto those hard compounder tyres, and can he complete the undercut? Never mind the soft, our leader of Jarno Opmeer comes in.
So, Red Bull very confident with this, not feeling the need to eke anything out. In comes the race leader, 1 lap after his teammate did. They are very confident in their strategy, in their race plan, and these are crucial moments for who takes home the win.
Well, this is very smart from Red Bull. They've had one driver dive into the pit lane. We would have had the outlap there from Freddie Rasmussen, got the data, see how the hard tyres are performing, and I'm sure all of that data will have been fed back from Freddie Rasmussen to the pit wall. That data then will have been fed back into the ears of Jarno Opmeer, and that's why he pulled into the pit lane.
You can see the graphics on the left-hand side. You've got Otis Lawrence out front. This is a massive, massive lap for him. But as you say, looking at the data, looking at the understanding, clearly sticking to the plan, Red Bull operating with the level of confidence that we've come to expect in the F1 Sim Racing Championship. There's the man who started on the hards. Ismail Fassi finds himself with an opportunity, and what he told Nina before he gave his interview earlier on, you can win from P3. The confidence that he had at the start of the day, the man going a different way to anyone else. In comes the race leader, Otis Lawrence. It was previously held by Jarno Opmeer, and now we find ourselves with Fassi hitting the front on the alternative strategy. And now we will wait to see what sort of stop it is and what sort of track position fight we will get between the top 2 before we hit the round of pit stops.
So we have a third different race leader, this one being the home Spaniard of Ismail Fassi at his home Grand Prix, will now circulate up at the front end, and this will be why Red Bull pulled Jarno Opmeer into the pits just 1 lap later than Freddie Rasmussen. Rasmussen picks up that fastest lap of the race on the exit of the pit lane. Otis Lawrence seemingly in a little bit of traffic though as he comes out in behind Jarno Opmeer. Josh Ido though, starting on the soft compounder tyres, now finds himself in the net lead of the race.
Josh Edu, parachuted in as the super sub for today, is the lead Alpine. He finds himself ahead of Opmeer, he finds himself ahead of Otis Lawrence, and the order has been turned on its head. All of the work that he did on that soft compounder tyre paying off, and now we have a rearranged order and we have a completely different race on our hands. Who said it wasn't going to be exciting at Barcelona?
I mean, this is an absolute masterclass from Josh Ido, because in a normal situation, starting on the soft compound tyres, he would have to pit multiple laps earlier than everyone on the medium tyres. However, Josh Ido dived into the pit lane at the exact same time as Jarno Opmeer, so there is no tyre difference, there is no tyre offset between these two. Josh Ido and Jarno Opmeer are going to be racing to the line on pure pace. Josh Ido has worked this out to an absolute T.
A little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. Jarno Opmeer's ahead of his championship rival, but he's behind a driver who has been brought in for this contest. This was the moment. This is going to get messy at the end of the pit lane. So this was Josh going past Otis Lawrence out of the pits, and a change across the board around the outside. Fine move. And through goes Josh Ido past Jarno Opmeer, and Otis Lawrence had a great view of a battle he wanted to be clear of.
Well, maybe a bit of a misjudgment there from Opmeer as he pulled to the middle of the circuit to try and fend off Otis Lawrence as Lawrence was leaving the pit lane. But did he have a lapse and forget about Josh Ido in behind? Ido came flying through with the DRS enabled, and the door was just opened wide in front of him. He takes the outside line, says, "Thank you very much, I'll take the net race lead as well." And Jarno Opmeer, we know he's not going to give it up that easily, though. There will definitely be a fight back from the Flying Dutchman.
Well, from our championship leader's point of view, the driver he has to beat today is Otis Lawrence.
Lawrence, yeah.
The super sub doesn't concern him for the championship picture. So crucially for him, he marked off the driver that he needed to. To the pit lane we go now, another stop. This time for Joni Tormela, who is in a similar position to Ido in that he's been brought in for this event. Is there a chance? No. Still waiting to try and make the move. Full screen, and we find ourselves with Josh Ido ahead of Jarno Opmeer and Otis Lawrence. Out front, hard tyre starters. They're still out there. They're going to go much deeper. How far you can go, absolutely crucial. Exactly what we expected for this round of the championship. Split strategies and really well poised, but that redrawn battle, that is not what we expected to see.
No, it's not at all. And as you mentioned, Alex, obviously championship contenders battling. It is between Jarno Opmeer and Otis Lawrence. That battle isn't with Josh Ido, but in Josh Ido's mind, he doesn't get as much seat time as these other drivers. He's here to prove himself. He needs to prove that he's able to put himself in these positions and also take the big opportunities and make them work for him. Josh Ido, in the past, has never taken home a race victory. He's had 3 podiums.
39 starts.
Yeah.
Could this be the day, as you say, never had that win, but if today is the day,
yeah,
what a validation of how Alpine have distributed their drivers. If he can stay where he is, he's got a great opportunity. Ismail Fassi's going to have a lot to say about it on the alternative strategy. Ruben Pedreno finally with a little bit of clear air as well, but that's the difference between getting your qualifying right and finding yourself further down the order. Pedreno having to run at soft and medium tyre pace as they were fading away. It's 2.4 seconds, and you're always taking punishment in sim racing if you're not part of a DRS train.
Well, Ismail Fassi will have to milk the last little bit alive out of these hard compounder tyres if he wants to be competitive in the later stages. He needs to try and associate that gap as soon as possible and not let the other drivers bring that down as much as they can. We're having a look at our race leader right here, the number 54 of Ismail Fassi out in front. Lucky for him, he has quite a bit of breathing room back to Ruben Pedreno in second, so he doesn't have to worry about anyone breathing down his neck. He can just focus on his own lines, his own race, and his own strategy as well. So it's all focus 100% on Ismail Fassi, and we'll have to keep an eye on what he's able to do later in the race. Still yet to make a pit stop.
of the drivers that have made a pit stop. It is the net race lead for Josh Edu, but it is an intriguing gap right now. 20 seconds between the race leader in first and the net race leader in 11th of Josh Edu. So Edu chasing a first ever win. He's been competing plenty of times. 39 starts is enormous. Now, this is really interesting. Further back, Aston Martin driver, Ruben with the move. Longuet ahead, not for much longer.
DRS is just so strong down that main straight there. We've seen it time and time again with Jarno Opmeer and Otis Lawrence trading positions. That, again, not working out in the favour there of Nico Longuet as Ruben Progenio made his way past. That was how the move was done on the Williams driver, swapping over from the Ferrari camp last year. It was almost just a switch of positions for Ismail Fassi and Nico Longuet, the two drivers in first and third in the race so far. Haven't made a pit stop for either of them. Both started on the hard compounder tyres, and that graining will start to creep in sooner rather than later, and they will start to feel the effects of degradation.
Moves to the pit lane coming, and we have surely got darts to the pit lane.
Yeah.
There we go in the side of your screen. The second Ferrari of John Evans getting his stop completed and back to the fast lane of the pit lane.
Ruben Progenio also pulling into the pit lane, so if Nico Longuet wants to hold off the undercut here, he needs to push like hell on this final lap and dive into the pit lane as soon as possible. Only 14 laps are remaining in this race, so that is subsequent time to be doing on those medium compounds. Joni Tormala being the leader of that alternate strategy so far. Tom Manley, his teammate, in behind him. Ruben Progenio and John Evans being the latter that have just came into the pit lane. Let's go on board with Otis Lawrence as he's still peering down that rear diffuser of his championship contender. Josh Edu still leading the way, unfazed out in front. We know he's been focusing on this circuit. It's the only circuit that he's been practicing on. So in theory, Josh Edu should be the master of Barcelona.
Yeah, if it has that direct correlation between the hours put in and the results out on track, you would expect him to be a contender. Talking of contenders, there's a big moment in the race coming your way right now. Here comes the driver who started highest up on the grid on the alternative strategy, started on the hard tyres, getting rid of the hard tyres, and he wants to be in the mix here. Can he find himself close enough to make advantage of the new rubber that he's been put on right now? He is rejoining with a large gaggle going past, and still it's the net race lead for Josh Edu.
Huge moment for Ismail Fassi here. He needs to make the most out of these medium compounded tyres whilst also not burning them up too early. They need to last the distance, and this will be interesting to see what the pace offset is like between the hard compounded tyres and a fresh set of mediums as well. Fassi needs to get the dirty work done early. In the background, there was a luck of a move down the inside there from one of the Aston Martin drivers. That was Ruben Progenio trying to make his way past Tom Manley. Manley just about holding on as he firmly shuts the door in the face of the Aston Martin protege.
When Pedrosa came out of the pits, I was like, oh, that is Gaggle City. You are absolutely in the pack there. And he's put a great race together if you consider his day so far. But it's just so many cars to get past. Can you pass the cars at will, was the question for Ismail Fassi. Your answer is delivered at turn number 10. He's through, and now if he can make that sort of progress further up, he's a genuine contender to win.
Wasting absolutely no time is the home Spaniard and making his way through the field as he departs of the second McLaren of Alfie Butcher. Now sights are set forward on fast Freddie Rasmussen. DRS open, battery is being depleted as overtake mode is being enabled down this home straight. Pick your braking point. You need to hit this apex at turn 1, making the way through. You can see the traction offset already between these two drivers as it's just so smooth from Ismail Fassi. He's able to negotiate the car through the corners and plant that accelerator so much earlier. Even thinks about a move down the inside there. It's not the optimal overtaking zone, but Ismail Fassi doesn't want to waste any time. Outside here, pick your braking point around the 50-metre zone. Can the switchback be on the cards? No, well parked on the apex there from Freddie Rasmussen.
You're not going to do that to Freddie Rasmussen. He has been around too long to allow an up and under, especially that corner. It is possible. You need a bigger offset. This is a massive test for Ismail Fassi if he's going to break through again and win this year, something he's not done so far in the opening 4 races half moves are not what he needs. He needs decisive moments, but you can see the traction that he's got. All that hard work completed on the hard tyre means a fresher medium, and when it turned into a traction race, it turned into a real opportunity now. Those ahead of him on the racetrack are the net podium finishers, or are they? Because he's passing cars at will.
A mistake there from Freddie Rasmussen just opened the door wide open for Ismail Fassi, and Fassi picks up that position with ease. We saw Fassi go for the dummy under braking to try and feint out Freddie Rasmussen into a defensive position. That may have scared the veteran there just a little bit, misjudged his braking zone, went deep into turn 10, and that was enough to let the Ferrari man through, as Ismail Fassi looking hot and ready to focus forwards. Otis Lawrence is the next car in front. This is starting to spice up.
This is going to be very interesting to see. This is further back. Manley, Pedreno, a fight heading to turn. Oh, that is so close. On the grass and elbowing by Old School, and it cost them a position. Oh, Manley fighting with Pedreno. The Williams took advantage. Nicholas Longuet ahead. They're banging wheels corner after corner.
This is the action that you come for. Rubbing is racing, as they say, as trading paint and rubber are those two cars. Nico Longuet will love that position as he gets a little bit of bump and aid through the corner there to get himself up another 2 places. Nico Longuet gains a couple positions now, 11th on the circuit. We're still on board with Ismail Fassi as he looks down the rear end of Otis Lawrence, the first of the Alpine drivers in this train, and Fassi knows he has no time to waste. Every corner that he spends behind these hard runners is more time lost.
He has got so much grip, he's got so much confidence, and this has not happened by accident. This was his decision and Ferrari's decision to go with this strategy. Look at the net top 4 in the race. That is absolutely fantastic to see the battling going on. Halliday still has to make his mandatory stop, and in fact he's nearly nudging Otis Lawrence along. Got to make the move. It's going to be fascinating to see whether he can do the same thing again in the final sector. It's nearly carving the Alpine apart.
Ismail Fassi is getting hot and ready on the rear end of Otis Lawrence right now, peering down the rear end, tries to do the same move that he did on Freddie Rasmussen. Otis Lawrence, although he's only been here for 2 seasons, does not fall for that trick. That's one of the oldest tricks in the book. That's not going to work on me, says Otis Lawrence, and Ismail Fassi will have to try once again. Down the home straight could be a good opportunity if he gets a good drive out of turn 14 here. About 212 kilometers an hour they carry around the final corner, but it's all about planting that accelerator as soon as possible, using the traction to your advantage. DRS enabled. He has a think about it, but doesn't want to slip out of the slipstream just yet.
So he's still there for the moment. Remember, every lap that he runs on that medium tyre, the benefit is disappearing. They're degrading as well. Oh, that's a massive defensive shape having to be thrown by Otis Lawrence, who is clinging onto his place on the podium when the Aston Martin driver, the only one yet to stop, comes in. That's close into turn number 5. Fassi knows he needs clean moves. He knows he needs to break this train apart. If he can go on and win this one. He's got the advantage. Can he make it pay?
En fuego is Ismail Fassi right now as he is on fire, carving his way through, and Otis Lawrence will not be wanting to see that behind him at all. The last thing you want to see is that scarlet red Ferrari. Is that because of the heat radiating off his car and the pace that has been put down on the circuit by the medium runner, or is that because of the team colours? I guess we'll never know, and we'll find out at the end of the race. What is Ismail Fassi able to do? Seems to find himself in a bit of a dead spot right now as he can't get the move done just yet. A bit of a hold-up with the Alpine and the Red Bull in front of him, but he needs to get this move done sooner rather than later.
Is he part of the train change out front? Massive moment for Jarno Opmeer. The Red Bull driver and championship leader hits the front. Josh Edu, who got the track position, is down to second place. Otis Lawrence in third, and is this the run for Fassi? Fassi's absolutely electric out of the first 3 corners, but not enough to make the pass. He wants that inside line. He still can't find it. Can he force Lawrence to a different part of the racetrack, heading into 5? Not going to be any room around the outside there, but he's got his rival ahead off the traditional racing line. There's no chance to put a wheel on the inside of 7.
Darting left, darting right. Ismail Fassi is starting to let the desperation creep in as he catches the curb off turn 9 there, through down towards 10 now. Doesn't get the best exit, and that was offset by launching onto the sausage curb. Little bit of the rear end kicking out, and that wasn't the best run he would have been hoping for. Fassi knows he's the faster out of the two drivers, just can't get the move done.
So this is going to be so important in the next couple of laps. There is an opportunity, but Otmir knew that he had to get himself back into P1. He's not interested in playing the tactical waiting game anymore. It looks lively between these two, who battled so spectacularly in our round in Japan, and there's no chance into turn 1. It's just not been the traditional overtaking opportunity that many hoped it would be. We knew it was going to be tough. We have seen passes in different parts of the circuit. This is where he is superb. This is where he's brilliant, and it's not down to DRS. But any move here is dangerous. Any move here risks points, let alone the podium ahead, and his forward momentum has been checked right now. Further back in the pack, we've got Istvan Pukki. He's up against Ruben Pedreno, and we're heading to turn 5. We're heading to another moment of contact.
Can't stay away from the contact, can Istvan Pukki, over these couple of courses of days. We saw the incident between him and Ismail Fassi yesterday, and that's what was awarded a 10-second penalty after the race, which dropped him completely down the order and out of the pack as well. Ismail Fassi, the last Spanish driver to ever win a F1 sim racing race. That was just not long ago in the 2025 season, winning the opening round. Did Ismail Fassi, looking to do the repeat, and there's been no Spanish winners in between. Fassi, can he do the double, and can he do it on home turf?
Here's chance for Otis Lawrence. He's got a wheel to the inside. It's his teammate ahead. And it's as you were for the battle out front. Top 2 in the point standings. Top 2 in the order. Jarno Otmir versus Otis Lawrence. And now what can Josh Ido do up against Ismail Fassi? Can Fassi clear him? It's so tight between our pack at the front. And we're coming to the latter stages. It looked like it had swung the Ferrari man's way. If he can get by, there's still an opportunity for him. He's still on the better tyre. Is there a chance now? It'd have to be ridiculously brave, and there's just no room into 7.
No, Fassi's smarter than that. He'll pick his points, and he'll pick his overtake to a perfection. He's not going to go for any rash decisions. He learned from his mistakes in Bahrain last time out at Event 1. That was a huge mistake, and Fassi has a smarter head on his shoulders, and he's proving that right here, not rushing into a position and causing an incident, staying in behind and waiting for the opportunity to arise, which is exactly what Fassi needs to do. There's nothing else he can do to offset that overtake and force it to happen. You can't force a move around a track like Barcelona. You can't force a mistake upon another driver around a track like Barcelona. You simply have to wait until your pace outweighs your opponent.
This looks good. This looks very good. No opportunity right now, but remember how good Fassi is off these corners. Is there a chance for a slingshot move into turn 4? That's what he's looking for. Using a little bit of the road. You can see he's all over the back of him now. Can he get to the inside line? Watch the red Ferrari. Can't. He can't get there, and he's going to run at the pace of Josh Ido, who's looking for a first podium of the campaign, having waited for his chance behind the wheel, and all of the effort on the hard tyre to get that fresh medium has been undone. Got a yellow flag out on track right now, and that has cleared quite quickly. So to the battle for the lead that looked like it could be a Ferrari, but it's Red Bull versus Alpine, Otmir versus Lawrence out front to win this one.
I'm going to put this out there, Alex. Ismail Fassi, if he finished off the podium here, I think in his books, that would be a disappointment. He's had 7 podiums out of the 28 race starts that he's had. That's a 25% success rate of a podium in every single race. So 1 out of 4 races, Ismail Fassi finds himself on the podium, has an average position of, finishing position of 9th as well. We're going to have a look at why Ruben Pedreno went tumbling down the order. Oh, a dive bomb like that is never going to work. Collected by Istvan Pukki in behind as well. Pukki very lucky to not pick up any significant damage, collecting the driver on the apex, but Ruben Pedreno, that was just pure desperation.
That was for P10. That chance disappears. Aston Martin driver finding himself at the back now after the contact, after the spin. It's Otmir, Lawrence, Ido, Fassi, and then Rasmussen, the top 5. Butcher, Benham, Longay, Tormala, and Manley complete the point scorers. Ron Ha has something to say about that. He's got fresher medium tyres than the last of the point scorer scorers at the moment. Half a second for the battle for the lead. Running out of laps here.
If Jarno Opmeer was able to take home this race victory, that would be 18 career victories under the belt of Jarno Opmeer. It would also mean that Red Bull have won 4 out of the 5 races this season. The only other driver to win a race is the man right there in second position. It's Otis Lawrence. But Jarno Opmeer would also have a very nice extension of his championship lead, a nice bit of breathing room. It would then be 17 points that separates Jarno Opmeer and Otis Lawrence in the championship. And from the emotions we saw from Otis Lawrence yesterday, he finished second in the race from pole position, which is still a great result. Nevertheless, from Otis Lawrence, we still saw him getting emotional in the sim rig, and that's how much it means to him. He's giving everything into every race, and for Otis Lawrence, second position is just not good enough in his mind.
No, and it would be a big points gap. It would also be the straight fight that we talked about being resolved in the favour of the reigning champ. So this is a crucial couple of laps coming your way to see whether Lawrence can get the regen that he needs, recharge the battery, and unleash anything at the end. One car in front of him. Jarno Opmeer, so long a contender at the front, multiple world champion, and trying to add another title to a glittering career of F1 sim racing. Lawrence, a picture of concentration, trying to get further through. And Opmeer, Lawrence, and Edu, it would be a great result for Alpine. Waited for a long time to be able to fight consistently at the very front. 2 cars on the podium would represent a big moment for them. Ismail Fassi, at one point, I think if you'd looked at the projected chance of who was going to win this race, I think he was in the box seat at one point. But we talked about making your advantage pay. When he had that tyre advantage all generated by his work on the hards.
I 100% agree with you, Alex. When we were looking at Ismail Fassi carving his way through the field, it was looking like there was no stopping the Spaniard. He was just departing overtakes. He would arrive onto the back of a driver, get the move done, move on to the next. And that's exactly what Fassi had to do to make that medium switch work on the medium compounder tyres. Fassi just found himself on the back of the top 4, got held up a little bit, and that tyre advantage very quickly dissipated. Otis Lawrence is going to take this fight all the way to the line. Just 3 laps remaining in this one. Jarno Opmeer heading the field. If anyone knows how to defend and hold the pressure from behind, it'll be that man out in front. In behind, though, there's a good battle going on between Ismail Fassi. Is this finally the opportunity for Fassi to make his way past Edo? Yes, it is. Fassi up into a podium position. Josh Edo will want to respond soon, though.
Well, he got by. It's the move he was looking for. If he'd found P3 before, there was an enormous opportunity. Now he needs something that is downright spectacular. Opmeer versus Lawrence versus Fassi for the win. It is Red Bull versus Alpine versus Ferrari out front. Josh Edu doing a great job earlier in the race. This is the moment. Oh, that's special. Oh, fights his way by. And that was the inside line that he'd been chasing time and time and time again. Brush of the grass. And by the apex of 7, P3.
Ismail Fassi has been loving that dummy move under braking. Otis Lawrence gets so close to the rear end of Jarno Opmeer. I can almost smell the fuel coming out of the exhaust pipes there as Otis Lawrence gets dangerously close under braking. One slight misjudgment there and both of them were going veering off the track at turn 1. Lawrence, though, just piling on the pressure, letting Opmeer know what his intentions are, and there is no other intention than making the move for the race lead. However, in the hands of Tom Manley, a 3-second penalty has been awarded, which just makes his race go from bad to worse. He was on the edge of a point-scoring position, but with a 3-second penalty, out of contention.
Yeah, Ron Howard jumped him anyway. That was not leaving enough racing room, according to race control and the stewards. Penultimate lap of the race. Jarno Opmeer ahead of Otis Lawrence. Otis Lawrence waiting, biding his time. The big guns are about to fight it out on lap 33 with the race win in the balance. Fassi has joined this battle, but he couldn't get the move close enough, and they're fighting over who's going to get it at the end of this contact. Surely tactical games at the end there. Surely, and it's side by side over the line. Ismail Fassi's got a chance. There was contact between the top 2 in the championship, and Otis Lawrence leads on the final lap. Ismail Fassi gets the lead.
Oh.
Contact between Jarno Opmeer and Otis Lawrence. The Ferrari was over the road. There's cars everywhere. It's Ismail Fassi who leads by a 1/10 of a second on the 33rd and last lap.
This was all a masterclass. This was all tactical games from Jarno Opmeer, and it's been thrown back in his face. He tried to let through the driver of Otis Lawrence and get that slipstream and also the DRS down the straight, and now it's just absolute pandemonium. Cars are spurting left and right as everyone is trying to deal with the damage.
Out front, it's right in the balance all the way to the end. Josh Edu has never won a race at this level before. Can he do something at the end? It's Fassi, then Edu, then Rasmussen, the podium. Josh Edu's all over the back of him, chasing him the long way round, looking for something audacious. He's forcing the Ferrari left. He's forcing the Ferrari right. He's giving it everything. Josh Edu looking for the win. Ismail Fassi started on the hard tyres. He'll finish on the mediums. Round the final corner for the final time. What a last lap that was. Ismail Fassi wins. He comes across the line. Josh Edu in second and Freddie Rasmussen is in third. An absolutely astonishing last lap as the top two in the championship make contact and they open the door for the Ferrari man. Ismail Fassi, the winner.
Even if you could see into the future, there is no chance you would have been able to predict that. So much happening, so much chaos, and that is F1 sim racing. That is what you expect when you tune into this broadcast, and Ismail Fassi making the most of a dead situation. We thought he was out of contention. We thought it was going to be difficult for him to take home a podium. Never mind, a race win. The Spaniard is successful on his home turf. Caliente is Ismail Fassi. As you can see what it means to the man, emotions bubbling over as Ismail Fassi 1 year later takes home another race victory. His last race win was the opening round in 2025. Ismail Fassi, welcome back to the top spot.
Only a second career win, a mega moment that just looks so unlikely. He had the opportunity, he had the momentum, and look at what it means. Pumped up beyond belief, having claimed the win, and he's looking at the monitors with the team in disbelief. Jarno Opmeer making contact, tried to give his rival the lead so he could get DRS back, felt he needed to do something because he clearly felt it was going to be a slam dunk move into the first turn. They open the door and Ferrari win it by a 10th and a half. Congratulations to Josh Edu, who was so close to that first win. I thought at turn 10 he was going to produce an unbelievable move. He didn't get there, but he has claimed a 4th career podium. Put in the car as the super sub. We can underline that. Super sub and second place. In the end, Otis Lawrence finished in P8. Joni Tomala was in 9th. Tom Manley listed as 10th across the line, but I think that had that penalty hanging over him. The results: Ismail Fassi, Josh Edu, Freddie Rasmussen, Nico Longue's 4th, Alfie Butcher in 5th, then it's Jake Benham and Thomas Ronhart, who was miles off. What an absolutely incredible ending.
What have we just watched, Alex? What have we just been treated to? Risk or reward? It was big risk and big reward for Jarno Opmeer. Unfortunately, did not go his way at all. As they say, play silly games, win silly prizes. Jarno Opmeer tried to let Otis Lawrence through heading into the final section, so he was the one with DRS down the home straight. He knows how strong that DRS advantage is and how much time you lose as the leader. Jarno Opmeer was then pummeled back into traffic. He forgot about the other drivers that were surrounding them. Ismail Fassi then got involved, and I think for a moment we actually saw Ismail Fassi's front wing also go flying. So Ismail Fassi very much could have won that race with damage on the car, and then 3 wide down into turn 1, all 3 drivers wanting the same piece of track. It was just never going to work out.
Well, that was a dramatic one. Racing in Barcelona. Unbelievably boring.
Oh, I say we do it again. I say we go again.
We waited a while to have the action on track at the Circuit Barcelona Catalunya, and it delivered an all-time classic. It ain't over till it's over. And Ismail Fassi placing the car well. He got the lead. The DRS games, the fight down the main straight, and plenty to pick over for Tom Deacon in the post-show in a few moments' time. Joni Tomala, another driver, put in the car, rewarding the team with points. And let's see how it looks for the top 10. Well, it looked different, didn't it, on the 32nd lap. By the time we got to the end of the 33rd, something different. Only a second career win for Ismail Fassi. Josh Edu with a 4th career podium. Freddie Rasmussen picking up the pieces after his teammate and championship leader Jarno Opmeer made contact with his closest rival, Otis Lawrence. It was Butcher ahead of Benham, then it was Ron Ha. Otis Lawrence limping home to P8, then Joni Tormala and John Evans completing the top 10 after that penalty was applied for Tom Manley. Tycho Hardy in 11th, then Thomas Gow, Ruben Pedreno, then Manley with the penalty dropped down. Opmeer eventually finishing in 15th, and then it was Pookie, Crozen and Halliday in 18th. Well, that was dramatic and then some. Let's send it into the arena now where Nina is speaking to P2 and P3.
We weren't sure what to make of that Barcelona race, but my goodness, did it provide us with some action. I'm here with P2 and P3. Josh, your highest ever finish, your first podium since 2022 and your first podium for Alpine. Talk us through that crazy race.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's been a long time. I had a pretty horrendous last season, and I didn't know if I'd even be here, to be honest. But yeah, it's great to be back. And that race was just, yeah, it's crazy towards the end. I didn't expect all that carnage because, as I said earlier, it's really hard to overtake. But yeah, with the DRS games at the end, I almost got taken out of turn 1, but I just managed to avoid it. But yeah.
Talk us through that. There was a little train between the 4 of you for a while, quite a long while in the second stint of that race. And there was a moment where Ismail Fassi was basically pushing you both along. How do you manage the pressure?
Yeah, it was okay at first because I was leading the train, but it was unrealistic that I was going to hold the lead. And yeah, as soon as Ismail got behind me, it was pretty tricky with his fresh and medium tyres. Unfortunate that he got through because he ended up winning the race. But yeah, it was well managed. It was just about saving the tyres, saving the battery. And yeah, it all worked out in the end.
And a word for your teammate. Do you understand what happened there?
Yeah.
What can you tell us, Josh?
As far as I'm aware, they just, Jarno slowed down to get DRS onto the start-finish straight, and they just crashed at turn 1. It happens, but Otis will be back, and I'm sure there'll be many more incidents like that this season. So hopefully I can benefit from them.
Freddie, P3 today, great bounce back after yesterday. Did you expect to get a podium today?
No, I didn't. Especially not after lap 1, where the game was lagging and I got some damage.
You mentioned you carrying some damage. Is that why you pitted so early, or was it always pre-planned for you to pit early and have that aggressive strategy?
It was always planned, and after lap 1, my only goal and my only possibility was to defend, not overtake anyone.
I think you were the first person to pit in the race. Do you think if you hadn't have pitted that early, you would be on the podium position today?
No, I wouldn't have been able to overtake anyone.
And whose idea was that? Was it a joint effort between you and your team, or was it your idea?
Team's idea.
Team's idea. Okay, guys, looking ahead, we have Silverstone next. What are your thoughts and feelings?
Well, I know Freddie's going to be fast. That's a given. But yeah, Danny and Otis are looking really strong. So expect to see them at the front like we've been all this event.
And Freddie, well done, Silverstone. You go very well here. What are you thinking?
My pace is awful this year, so we'll see what happens.
Well, you never know. Throwing it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Nina. His pace is awful. We'll pick that up in 1 second because joining us right now, Ismail Fassi, your second win in F1 sim racing in the World Championship. Congratulations. How does it feel?
Thank you very much. You know, I think on lap 29, just with 4 laps till the end, I was 4th. And I was about to give up even the podium chances. And yeah, I was told to back off a bit, save some tires, because I was using a lot just to try to overtake and get positions. And yeah, in turn 5, I don't know which lap, I think 29 or 30, I had the chance to send it down the inside to Josh, and I was just confident. I just tried it and it worked, and that's pretty much why I won the race. Then on the last lap, or second last lap, on the last corner, some strategics from people in front just made my race win easier.
Yeah, we'll break down what you mean by strategic manoeuvres in just a moment as I see Alex Jakes and Kai coming out of that. A fabulous race to talk over. It was chaotic at times. It had a bit of everything. But for the team, What does that mean coming off the back of Jeddah? No points yesterday, and obviously getting that race win today.
I mean, it's really positive. Yesterday was a really bad day. No points. Even if I had finished the race, I think I was just going to score 1 or 2 points, which is not what you want, not what we aim for. Winning, just not in the home race, even though it's sim racing, it just feels nice. It's a race win in the end after such a bad race yesterday. So, yeah, just very happy, very exhausted. I was just crying again after crossing the line. I couldn't believe that I won the race. It really means a lot.
It's the shouting of "Vamos!" Which I thoroughly enjoyed. JC, where do we start with this race? I mean, we're seeing how chaotic the start was, damage left, right and centre at times, and there was no patience from some of the drivers, and there was a lot of patient manoeuvring from some of them.
There was a lot going on, wasn't there? Fascinated how no one fancied turn 1 at all. And then so you got loads and loads and loads of moves. I mean, you were absolutely electric coming out of the first 3 turns with that tyre advantage, which we'll see in a few moments. But it meant that we got loads of brinkmanship into turn 5. You see why you're seeing so many wheel banging incidents in the highlights here. Obviously, at this stage of the race, Ishmael's in the box seat. It's looking very good. Then we have the swap to put the top 2 in the points, top 2 on the road. More shenanigans at turn 5. Yep, okay.
There's still more coming, don't worry.
Yeah, and then we get to the major moments. This is on the final lap of the race. There's the contact between the rivals, and at this point, you must be thinking to yourself, what has happened?
Yeah, I really thought it was my fault. I thought I closed the door a lot because I didn't know that Jarno was down the inside. I thought he was gonna back off. And I felt like I left enough space for one car, and then I saw both Jarno and Otis sideways, so I was like, oh, maybe I messed it up a bit. And yeah, just because of the momentum, the top speed that I had, it was just really critical to stay on the track and keep the people behind, because I had damage on the last lap.
Yes.
I had front wing damage.
Yeah.
Because of the strategy from the people in front.
Yeah.
I was really annoyed because of that. It was really dangerous, let's say. I could expect some lifting, but not braking in a straight line. So yeah, I still cannot believe I'm here.
How do you feel right now? Because sometimes when I've chatted to you before, Ishmael, you've just got this energy about you, and with your voice, you just seem like it's just coming to terms, reflecting on what's just happened. Is it kind of an emotional moment for you? Where are you at, like right now?
Well, I'm sat here with you guys.
Starstruck, that's what it is. Definitely starstruck.
It's actually Tom Deacon in real life. No way. Yeah. I'm intrigued. We talked a lot in the pre-show about the bounce back ability. Could you turn the disappointment of yesterday into something great? Podium would have been solid after what you went through yesterday. So to turn it into a win, do you feel you're back in the title fight?
I never really thought I was not on for the title since the beginning of the season. So it's true that I think yesterday I was 40 points off the lead, and now I'm not even more than 20, I guess. So yeah, it's really good. Let's say, it's one race win. People in the title fight not scoring points just gives you the chance again to be up there.
What do you make of that last lap, Kai? I mean, what was going through your head when you saw that manoeuvre and what we call as strategy? I'm putting that in inverted commas.
Well, what wasn't going through our heads at that moment? I think me and Alex both jumped out of our seats in excitement and were both screaming at the screen, not really sure what was going on. There was cars dashing left and right, and then Ishmael just appears out in the lead, and we're like, oh, Ishmael's in the lead now. We thought it was going to be difficult for you to even take home a podium. You were charging through on those medium tyres, and then when you got onto the back of Otis and Josh on those Alpine drivers, you were kind of struggling to make your way forwards a little bit more, and that's when the tyre offset that you had started to go into their favour, and your fresh mediums weren't really as effective. So from a driver's perspective, obviously difficult to keep yourself in the game mentally, but as we've mentioned before, anything can happen. Very opportunistic in that situation.
Yeah, like you say, once I got behind Otis and Josh, I think I still had some tire delta to them, sorry. But it's just so, I wouldn't say it's easy to defend, obviously, because I'm on mediums, fresh mediums, they're on old hards. It's not easy, but it's defendable. You just have to keep your car on the apex in order to, give some dirty air. So the car behind gets a worse exit. And yeah, like I said before, on lap 28 or 29, I just saw the gap in turn 5 with Josh, and I was like, if I don't do it, I'm going to finish 4th. But I wasn't expecting the win, right? So yeah, even with a P3, I would have been happy, acceptable. Yeah. So yeah, that move was pretty much where the race was.
You've waited a while to get that second win since the start of last year in Australia, the first race of last season in F1 Sim Racing. Now, I'm going to let you just reflect and just relax a little bit because I want to talk about some of those incidents, if we may. And I'm not expecting Ishmael to comment on this. From the fellow Spaniard, Ruben Pedreno, moving from both of your teams last year, Williams. What happened here, Kai? What was your take on this?
I think in the moment I called it desperation, but looking back at it now, it looks like Pedreno wasn't necessarily looking for the overtake, broke a little bit later and then had the option of go to the inside or go straight into the car behind. Neither was a good option, and this was the moment that got Ishmael into the lead of the race. Jarno trying to recuperate some of the time that he lost, get himself on the inside, maybe get past both of them, but Fassi did a great job at going late on the brakes, getting himself out of that situation, and Otis Lawrence very much a passenger in this situation. You have to feel for Otis Lawrence. Had a car on his outside, had a car dive down his inside, nothing that Otis could have done there.
So now the difficult question, who's getting a penalty? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not looking at his face at the moment. It's under investigation, those two incidents. Should there be penalties maybe due to passed out, Kai?
Oh, don't ask me. Don't ask me. I'm not the stewards. They have the difficult decision. It's very easy for us to make a judgment from an outsider's perspective. And as commentators, we pass a lot of judgment as well. However, the stewards have all the camera angles. They have all the data. And I'm sure they'll make the right decision at the end of the day.
That is what I was looking for.
There we go.
Kai. Perfectly done. Brilliant race. Fantastic again. Second win for Ishmael Fassi. Let's look at the driver standings because we want to know how many points you are off from your first maiden championship, potentially, if it can happen, up to P4 now. 53 points, just behind Nico Longo with 58. Otis Lawrence with 59 and Jarno with 65. And we said at the beginning of this, it's so close. It's even closer now. We were talking about two drivers maybe going battling for this championship, and now it could be anyone's. Surprised with the former Freddie Rasmussen picking up a podium potentially there, Alex?
Well, it could have been quite literally anyone on that last lap when we almost had a raffle, didn't we? And picking different numbers out at the end. The constructors, Red Bull's still out front, but Alpine giving them a run for their money. Yeah, we've got a multiple driver battle for the title, which is brilliant. Because it could have been a two-horse race if it had finished a couple of laps before, but not a two-horse race anymore. Game on.
Well, look, I mean, for the first time we've ever raced around Barcelona, that last lap was absolute fireworks. Thank you very much to Ishmael. Now, Silverstone, 5 o'clock, going quali. How are we feeling about that one?
I guess
would you like more time? Should we put it back an hour just so you can relax a bit more?
I think we have to. This poor man's been through the ringer. He's won his home race.
I mean, I feel confident. It's not that we feel any slow in any of the tracks. It will be a track where the gaps will be small, like here in Spain, because it's literally 70% of the lap is full throttle, right? So we will see. I think it could be good again, hopefully. I'm confident now that I won a race, obviously. But yeah, we just got to keep our head down and keep pushing.
Okay, well, I'd love to hear that. And I believe also John Evans picking up his first F1 Sim Racing Championship, which is definitely a moment to celebrate after the season he has had. To Alex Chase, Cabicini, to Nina Jade, getting all of the interviews with the drivers. That's it for us. Not for the day, though. We will be back at 5 p.m. to start quali around Silverstone. What a race we have just witnessed for the first time ever in Barcelona. Make sure you come back to join us for our next race in this incredible championship.